What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today is Wednesday, September 20th, day number 50 inside the Big Brother house. Yes, we are officially at the halfway point. We've made it to the halfway point. It feels much longer than that. We've had well more than a season's worth of chaos in this house. And I'll be honest, I don't see it really slowing down anytime soon. With the double on Thursday, a lot can go down on depending on who ends up winning HOH, who wins veto, and just there's so many dynamics at play going on. And then we're going to go over a lot of the things that are kind of still developing, even as late as today, about what's been going down with future plans. But let's start off with what we kind of talked about yesterday, which was a big thing where I thought potentially Cirie made a very critical mistake. And I still believe it was a mistake that she did this, but it hasn't really turned out exactly how I was maybe hoping it would turn out, but still interesting nonetheless. What am I talking about in case you missed yesterday's update? Well, she mentioned, Cirie mentioned to Felicia that she thought that Jag, Cory, and America had a final three. They were getting ready to just kind of pick everybody off one by one, starting with Cameron this week, Jared next week, and it would be them three at the end, kind of just laughing at everybody else. Now, this is not a mistake, right? This is actually her seeing the game very clearly and having a very good read on how the house is at the moment. The mistake comes in when she then also told the same thing to Blue. Now, Cirie has asked Jared, like, hey, I can trust Blue with things I say, right? Yeah, sure, Mom. Don't worry about her. Well, Blue went and told everybody. So now that everybody else knew, Cory kind of wanted to go tell Felicia. He's like, listen, I heard this, that you said this, and with the idea that this would further push Felicia away from Jared and Cirie, she's already doing it, right? Like, they're not fully aware of how much she really doesn't trust them anymore. But he's thinking, well, this will maybe seal it, right? This will make it even further that if Felicia were to win HOH, she wouldn't go after someone like Cory, America, or Jag. She would go after Cirie and Jared. And that's exactly what he did. He went to her. He didn't right away say like, oh, I heard Cirie said you said this. He went, he's like, listen, I just wanted to come talk to you. I had heard that you were going around saying that me, Jag, and America had a final three. And she's like, you know what? I had heard that you guys had a final three too, but like, I didn't say it. But actually, you know, I heard it from Cirie. And Cory's just like, yeah, kind of, you know, that makes sense, right? And this doesn't necessarily make Felicia go off and confront Cirie, which I was kind of hoping for, because they've been in like this cold war between each other ever really since, even before the Izzy vote. Felicia had started to kind of not trust things that Cirie was doing. Her and Mimi really started to kind of see, like, this was during the red eviction week, where she was like, man, like, you know, I'm really starting to see, like, there's some stuff happening here, and I don't know if we can really trust them 100%. So Felicia's already been on that path, and she just used this time to have lots of talks with everybody today, just to kind of clear the air, not only to let them know, like, I didn't say this, but also just have good conversations. Like, she had a really nice one with Matt, where it was just a really nice back and forth. If you have time and you have the ability, I actually go back and watch that full thing. It was just a nice convo, other than just like game talk. It was just nice hearing the two of them have a nice conversation, because I honestly can't remember them having many, right? Like, they've been in group chats, but like just the two of them one-on-one. It's always nice to see those new little pairings. But he basically was pushing to where he's like, oh yeah, like, I don't think we can trust them, right? Like, Jared and Cirie, like, we can't, right? And if we win, like, we got to take the shot. Now, Felicia, again, also kind of just eventually just went with the whole thing, and she's like, listen, Cory, America, Jag, you know I didn't say it. Pretty much everybody knows I didn't say it, but I'm just gonna kind of roll with it and pretend like I did say it, just so you guys are aware. Like, I'm just gonna say I said it. Because why not? She's literally like animated in the bathroom. Like, why not? I said it. I didn't say it, but I said it. After this, and really not even necessarily after this, kind of how I do these, I just kind of say the important things as I come, and things that I have in my notes, and try and structure it, right? But one of the other things that we had today was, you know, the return of good old Mimi's pantry rants, right? Where she just kind of paces back and forth in the pantry, talking about like how things don't make sense. This one was less of a rant, and more of her kind of strategizing with herself. She was like tossing an orange up in the air and just being like, okay, like we can do this and that. And one of the things, and this was actually not the first time it's come up. It actually came up last night with her conversation with Jag. I kind of mentioned how she was having some really good late night chats, which, by the way, is something I want to point out. She's been staying up much later. She was up one of the last people with Matt last night as well, just really trying to have these good chats with them, these connections, not just on a game level, because they do talk game, but a lot of times just you know, getting closer to them, right? Having these little talks about life and just general things in an attempt to just socialize with Matt and Jag more, which is important, right? I think it's something that she's seeing as kind of been a lacking aspect of her game so far, and she's making that attempt now to try and make sure she's in a better position with them. Plus, they've all kind of started to work together. There's these little groups kind of forming, and I think she sees, like, even though they're strong competitors, like, they're trustworthy, right? Like, kind of the point that Jag had made the other day, where people who weren't a part of the multiple alliances, they're actually trustworthy people because they didn't flip on their alliances. So they're almost people you actually want to work with. Anyway, back to Mimi's little rant in the pantry. She basically was thinking, like, wouldn't it be something if we could figure out a way to get America out over camera? And listen, honestly, for her game, it's probably not a terrible idea, right? Because Jared and Cirie, they're not coming after, right? Cory and America necessarily aren't either, but she's got all of these big, strong players, right? Jared, Matt, Jag. Maybe let Cameron stay and let the four of them fight it out, and they're always targeting each other, and she just moves along even further, along with Felicia. So it's honestly not a bad idea. I just don't think there's any way for it to really happen. There's potential that there could be a tie, and then maybe Jared could be convinced to break the tie, and Cameron's, you know, not just laying down and rolling over. He's making an attempt, but I just don't see it happening. You would need Cirie, Blue, Felicia, and Mimi all to do it, and then Jared would be the one to break the tie. So I guess it could, in theory, but I just don't know if it will. I don't know if it will, but it's possible. It's possible we could have a flip on our hands. I'm not pressing the button. I'm not gonna. I know you guys thought I was gonna press the button. I know you thought I was gonna do it, but I'm not pressing the button. But keep an eye out for this. It's potentially something that could continue to build steam. So be aware of it. Now, Felicia ended up joining her for a little bit. Cirie was also in there for a bit too, but as Felicia ended up joining her and kind of filling her in on a lot of the talks that she kind of had. And one of the things that she said was how Blue and Jag both were pushing Jared and Cirie to her, but the way their pitches were so similar, it really kind of made her think a little bit. And listen, at this point, if she doesn't know that they're close, like, I don't know what to tell Felicia. Like, Felicia's actually somebody who, for the most part, I felt has really had a pretty good mind for the game. That, like, she spills too much information, but she's not dumb, right? Like she sees what's happening and she can kind of tell. This one just seemed a little odd. She's like, it took that pitch for you to kind of realize that, hey, maybe they have a much closer game relationship than I thought. The other thing though is they know that they can't really trust, right, that Jared and Cirie. We'll see how much that really even matters, but it is what it is. Another thing though is meanwhile, while this is all happening, is with Blue, right? So Blue and Jag, they're pushing for Jared and Cirie, and it seemed like, you know what, yeah, she's very much on board with putting up Jared and Cirie if she were to win HOH. But now not so much, right? She had a chat with Matt where she talks about like not wanting to do Cory and America's dirty work, and that if she won HOH, she doesn't think she actually could put up Jared and Cirie. Matt kind of agrees, and he's like, I don't know if I really could either. So we'll see how that really kind of all plays out. I kind of agree. It's not good for her game, right? Like they are not targeting her. They're more likely to go after a Cory, America. And at this point, like for Blue's game, it probably makes sense just to go further with them. But for our entertainment, I like do it. Like, please. It would be very fun if you did. But now I agree with her. It's not good for her game to put them up because they're not going after her. But here's the other part. She's also laying the seeds that Jared wouldn't be the target if Cirie and Jared ended up on the block, and that it would be Cirie to go, which I'm not sure what her play is with this. And this is where as I talked, you know, earlier this week, even last week, how Blue's just been a difficult nut for me to crack. I just can't seem to get her motives down all the time. It's a mystery to me, and I kind of love it. And it continues here because with telling Jared, like, hey, like, you wouldn't be the one to go, it would be Cirie. We know, like, she, at the very least, has a very strong suspicion that they are mother and son from the hints, right? She may not 100% know, but she feels like it's the truth, right? And if she knows that Cirie's his mom, what would she think this would accomplish? And that's the kind of where I'm trying to put my head like into her shoes, but she doesn't think the way I would expect her to think a lot of times. And I don't know what her motives are here, because I would imagine if you tell Jared this, it's one, either going to make him like more nervous to try harder for the veto, but or potentially even not try hard and let his mom win the veto, leaving him up on the block. So like I don't know if she's trying to make it so that Jared fights harder or not as hard. It's yeah, I don't know. Like, is she trying to make him comfortable, saying like you wouldn't go, but like she knows Cirie's. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and I don't know why she's doing it, but I'm sure it makes sense to her. I just wish I could tell you why she's doing it, but it is what it is. And again, this also isn't true, right? If it came down to it being Jared and Cirie, Jared's the one gone, because they know he's the one who wins the competitions, and they got to send them out. So I don't know. It's weird. Like I said, also Matt kind of understands and sees like it's an issue for him if he were to win HOH. Putting Jared and Cirie up probably isn't best for him, but he also feels like he has to win this week still. And I think that really comes down to him. One thing that Matt does really well is he kind of mirrors you, right? If Cirie's in the room with him and she's saying, you know, like, I gotta win HOH, and like, you know, me, you, Jared, like, we're good, and like, I can trust you and stuff. He's really good at being like, yeah, we can trust each other, right? And like, you know, I got you, and like, definitely, like, we gotta watch out. But then when Felicia's in the room and she's pushing that Jared and Cirie are kind of, you know, not that trustworthy, he's like, yeah, no, we definitely have to put them up. So I don't always know 100% where Matt's head is. I think the only person you can really trust when he's talking to is with Jag. I think the two of them are probably the most trustworthy when they're talking to each other, other than maybe Cory and America and Jared and Cirie, right? Like those pairings you can always really trust. Mimi and Felicia, when they talk to each other, you can usually really trust what they're saying too. So I feel like when you hear things that Matt says to Jag, those are more the truth. And I think he does realize, like, yeah, putting Jared and Cirie probably aren't good, but I think he would end up listening to Jag, knowing it's best for both of their games if Jared's gone. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this HOH plays out. A couple of other things. It was a spa day. We had some, cucumbers on the eyes for some people as Blue was giving massages to the face and stuff like that. But there were also hair makeovers. Bowie ended up looking kind of like Bruno Mars. Mecole from BB25. And then Cameron, he ended up looking like a member of the Beatles, but like during the psychedelic era, right? Like the rooftop concert era Beatles. Just long, straight hair. So that was a thing. We also got a little meeting of the Brown Sugar Babes. Sadly, we didn't get to see a lot of it because they kind of cut away from most of it. But they were kind of talking concerns about, like, what's happening downstairs, our Cory and America kind of forming a group. But this convo would be even more fun if we saw more of it. But also, it's fun watching them on it interact because, like, Mimi will throw out, like, yeah, like, I think if they got into power, it would be me and Bowie who goes up on the block. Which is a complete lie. Like, she knows what they would do. Or at least, like, we think she knows what they would do. But maybe she doubts that, right? Like, she will say it to their face, but maybe she's actually thinking, no, actually, you know what? I think they would just put me and Bowie up. So maybe she's throwing just random things to them, or maybe she actually feels that way. Felicia also just being like, yeah, we got to stick together, even though we know she doesn't trust Jared and Cirie really anymore. It's fun. It's fun seeing all these little dynamics at play. Also, Cirie kind of keeps going on about how she needs to win HOH, and not just how she needs to win HOH, but she's going to different people trying to be like, yeah, I'm really going to try for this HOH, and like, we're good, right? Like, Bowie, I trust you, right? Like, you don't have to worry. So if you don't want to win HOH, maybe you just step aside and let me win. Like, she doesn't say this, but that's what she's trying to get at. She does something very similar with Matt and Jag up in the have-not room. Matt ends up leaving, but there was kind of a funny moment where her and Jag are leaving the have-not room. She opens the door, and a member, there's like those two doors in that hallway for the have-not room. A member of production opened one of those doors and was like, oh, jump back inside. Cirie did the same thing. She was like, oh, like, close the door. This isn't the first time this has happened, but it's been a long time since we've seen this kind of a thing happen. They were very strict with all the protocols from the COVID times, right? So, like, we never saw anybody coming in there, even to the point where things like hide and go veto was apparently kind of axed because they would usually come in and, like, let's say a house guest would go in, they would hide a veto. They wouldn't want that veto to be found by somebody hiding their veto. So they would move the locations waiting for the next person to come on in and then put it back where it was at the very end. So everybody's veto is where they want it to be. But yeah, that was apparently why they got rid of that, was because they didn't want to be going into the house and having them mingle like that. There are times where they do have to go in, but then they would have to, like, sterilize and do everything. This seems like it was just a slight accident, right? But it was the first time in a long time that we've seen something like that happen. Other than that, though, that pretty much kind of covers what went down yesterday. Again, lots of little talks. Matt and Mimi were up really late, kind of just chatting about different things, but nothing really substantial. Will there potentially be more of a talk about flipping it to Cameron and keeping Cameron over America? We'll see. Anything is possible with this group. We are in a post-Izzy world, and we haven't seen as much chaos and flipping happening since she's left, so maybe not, but it's not off the table. It's not off the table. Also, something that was kind of interesting was Matt almost nailed that it's going to be a double, and he was saying like his reasoning why is like, yeah, they do a double this week, then everybody who makes the double, they're in jury. He's like, if it's not this week, they would wait probably this week, next week, and then the week after would be a double, and then both people go to jury. So like Matt's like, I'm not even a super fan, but that just makes sense to me. And you know what, Matt? You nailed it. The other thing I'm starting to wonder now, though. So I was kind of under the assumption that there was 100% going to be at least one more battle back. Reason why is they normally don't have it just be 3 people left for that final week, for like 3 episodes. There's a problem, though. There's not an episode on the Tuesday before the finale. So starting, I believe it's next week, maybe one of these weeks coming up. We have it posted in the Discord, pinned what the schedule is coming up. Wednesday episodes, so like tonight's veto episode, it's going to start airing on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. And that's going to continue for the rest of the season until finale week. The week of finale, the only episodes we have will be the Sunday episode, which that second to last episode, the episode before the finale, is always the memory lane episode where we see, you know, the final 3 looking at like different moments throughout the season, having that dinner, and then they start the final 3 HOH. So unless they're like pushing the final 4 veto to be a Sunday, which I don't understand. Like it doesn't add up, right? The days aren't adding up. I guess they could potentially do like a fake eviction type of a thing and just have that Thursday before be the final 4, or it just doesn't add up anymore, right? Losing that episode on that Tuesday changes everything for me, because again, that Tuesday episode would have been the kind of memory lane one. That Sunday would have been like a special eviction episode. But now that episode gets pushed to Thursday before, like a week before, and there's only 2 episodes the week of the finale, which then actually makes me think they won't actually do a battle back and we'll just have the way things are going from here on out, which could be interesting. Gonna make that last week very boring, but we'll see how it all plays out. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in here, watching this goofy dude talk about Big Brother. Thank you guys all so much. For 50 days now we've been going. So we've got 50 more to go. Oh, I need some coffee. I'll see you next time.